and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147. It's time to continue on walking in the rain. Now you may be able to tell I have completed 2 rows, or finished up the 2 rows, because I finished my big painting. So I'm working on this, well, I worked on this last week and I'm going to work on this in the upcoming week up until I kit up my next big painting. So I got quite a bit more ahead, which is nice to have these little spurts where I get more done. Now I have uncovered a bigger section that I'm actually going to complete today. This was covered with 2 sheets of cover paper, but it was quite overlapped, and when I've pulled it up, a lot of the same colours are around here, so I felt like I'm better working on where I can, sort of going by time, than having to take out these colours often for one section of it, but then having to take them all out or use them all again for the next section. So the WIP and Waffle will be as long as it will be, but I won't be finishing this section today. I do have all my little pots and things out. There's actually a couple further down here on the side because, say, I've been working on this one in an evening. So whatever I don't finish in the WIP and Waffle, when I finish my other videos filming, I'll probably just finish it up this evening, but at least I won't be getting out the same colour. What I have found while working on it through the week is, one, the light pad does help. So the symbols were not like drastic, but there is a couple that were a little bit harder to see, mainly the 939 and the 310. They both faced in different directions, but the light pad did make it so much easier to see. In fact, the first time I turned the light pad on, I didn't think I had any 939 in my section because it was showing as a dark blue and not looking black, just because the lighting was coming from underneath and not just from above. So I do have my light pad on for this to try and make the symbols a little bit easier. There are a couple that are similar, but I do find it quite easy to differentiate which one is which. There's a couple of pink O's, but one of them is considerably smaller than another. There's also a couple of pink plus signs, but the actual sort of background colour is quite a bit lighter on one over the other. It's a matter of sort of getting used to the symbols. You get a bit of a familiarity with the symbols and what they look like on the canvas, because I always think they do look slightly different on the canvas, especially with squares, because squares are smaller than rounds, and once you sort of get to grips with that, I find things are a lot easier. This is going to be a symbol that I'm going to miss a load of. I can feel it already. It was the first symbol in the bottom left, and I thought, oh, let's go for that one. Oh, here's the 2 different O's, the 2 different pink O's. I'm not sure if you can even see that, but one of them does have a shadow around them, so it actually does make them quite different to each other. But yeah, I don't know why I've started with this symbol. and not just gone for one that's a little bit bolder, but it's fine. If I end up missing it, then I'll deal with it later. What I have found on some of the other sections, because I do tend to peel back 2 sheets of cover paper, I end up with a section like this, or actually a little bit bigger, is I have been working partly by trays of diamonds. So I have 2 and a bit of these, and I've got familiar with one of them being letters, numbers and arrows, and then this other one being primarily circles, keyboard symbols. There is some hearts and things in there as well, but I'm getting very familiar with what symbols are in which, and because of my tables, I can have 2 that I can see, well, 1.5 cases that I can see easily, and then I have to move some out of the way to access the other ones. So rather than going by, oh, this is the next symbol to do, and having to move my tray out the way to get to the second tray, what I've been doing is actually looking for symbols that are prominent and in the tray I'm working on. So I'm either looking for letters, numbers and arrows that stand out, or I'm looking for things to do with circles and hearts and keyboard symbols, and going for the ones that stand out. And then after a while, once I've sort of exhausted those, then I switch to the opposite one and go through those. I pretty much always have access to my case with half of the symbols in it. So that is the diamonds. It's only got like 2 rows. The diamonds, this rectangle with a line through it is also in there, and the flowers are in that case. So I pretty much always have access to that one when I need to grab it. But I've sort of been working that way when I've been on my easel. So I have one case, the case that I can only see the bottom half of, on the little pull-out attachment that I have on my drafting table, because depending on which part of the canvas I'm working on depends on how much of that tray I can see. And then I have the others on my little mini IKEA cart. They sit on the top of there, and I use one of them, and then I just put the other one on my craft desk out of the way and switch them over every now and then. So it's working well. It's a different way of working with having so many trays. And with it being so busy with symbols, I do find going for a symbol that jumps out at you first can be beneficial. I'm not doing it as much with this one because I am stood up at my craft desk. I do actually have access to all 3 trays at the moment, so I'm sort of going by symbol. But when I'm sat down with still space around me, but a little bit more limited, unless I wanted to set up a load of mini tables and squash myself in, I find that's the easiest way for me to do it. But I am absolutely loving doing this many colours. I will say there's still, you do tend to find that, colours tend to be similar. So this is why I've uncovered so much. This is sort of using all that same sort of colour tone. It changes here and goes really quite dark. So I'm probably not going to get to any of those symbols today, and that's fine. I'm working on these pinks and purples and things around here, according to the picture, which for this, I think we are getting to the roof of the church or cottage or whatever it is that she's surrounding. But yeah, it's working really well. It's nice to get a little bit of progress. I don't know how much progress I will get in this next week before my next WIP and Waffle, but you never know. You never know how much progress will be done, but at least it will move ahead a little bit, and then it will go back to us just doing a section each week while I work on my next large painting. I'm using the limited edition tray that is available from the shop from tomorrow. Definitely seems very apt. We have quite a bit of purple that I've already been using so far, and then we have quite a bit of pink in this one as well. So it's definitely a suitable tray colour for this image. But I hope everybody is having a great week. I'm filming this on Sunday. Currently past the time my WIP and Waffle should have gone up, and it's still uploading. It is the slowest upload I have had in a hot minute. It was finished hours ago, and I feel like I've spent so much time trying different Wi-Fis, because we have a couple in the house, and the Admiral Zest shop has one as well, so I've been in there for a while trying to see if that was a faster Wi-Fi. But to be honest, I don't know whether it's us or whether it's actually YouTube. It could very well be YouTube, but it is not playing the game. So at least this one will be uploaded that you're watching on time, but Sundays is already late. But hey ho, we shall carry on. While I was trying to see if I could get the shop Wi-Fi to upload it any faster, which was a fail, I did get my logbook photos ready. Fingers crossed. You guys will have seen that video already, so you'll know if I managed to forget any photos or not. But just so you know, as I'm here and I've done them but not done the video yet, I figured there's no point in taking my easel down to then put it back up again. I thought, nah, let's just do my next WIP and Waffle first. So we shall see if I've forgotten any photos. Okay, so now I actually think I'm going to move on. Am I going to get... Yeah, let's get some of this solid pink done and try and get some of that out of my eye line, because when I do some of this here, I know there is some scattered inside as well. So let's find that arrow, that one from my little arrows tub. And let's have a look at some comments. So Tiffany said at this rate, she said she will still be working on Cosmic Trip, but she may change it up for June and work on Frenchy Corn. Oh, you're not getting enough time to diamond paint at all, Tiffany. Sounds like you're not. Though it goes in phases. Sometimes I find I get loads of time to diamond paint in an evening, and other times life is just far too busy to get anything done. Sometimes you just can't help it. It's just the way the cookie crumbles. I've got a fair bit of diamond painting done today in my videos, but I don't know how much I will actually get to do this evening. I might actually leave the rest of my editing and uploading until tomorrow and hope everybody else is off YouTube. And it uploads dead quick, but we'll see. But I'm enjoying my pace of completing diamond paintings this year so far. I've tidied up, in effect, finished up all the paintings that were kitted up last year and started on last year. Apart from this one, did I kit this one up last year, or maybe that was this year? Anyway, I know I didn't start this one till this year, so that's why I'm not counting it. Oh no, in fact, I didn't kit this one up till this year. So yes, every painting that was kitted up last year has been finished. Purple Tiger doesn't get kitted down for a couple of weeks, but when it does, they will all be de-kitted as well. I've got a nice single big diamond painting going on, so I'm focusing on one, so I'm hoping that will help me to progress through some of my stash. I was having a look at what videos I decided to bob down as potential, or schedule in as videos for upcoming weeks, and for I think it's next week I have to show you all the paintings in my stash, and I think for that one I am going to take all my large paintings out of their boxes to really show you them. It will probably be a quick-ish go through, but my plan at the moment is to take them out of their boxes, because just looking through the logbook, that's fine for what I've completed. I don't have the space to necessarily keep all completed paintings in-house if I am planning on gifting, giving some away, passing some on. So for example, Purple Tiger is going to a subscriber, so Purple Tiger will be leaving the house. So there is no way for me to keep that one until the end of the year, and pull all the paintings I've completed together into one big pile. It's nowhere near as practical, because I do keep some, I do gift some, I do pass some back to companies once I've completed them to use as examples to help them with their sales and marketing and things like that. So they're not always in my possession, but my stash is in my possession, and I thought it would be quite nice and different to actually showcase you them all, and quickly show you all the canvases. So I can imagine it's going to get rather messy in here next weekend. I might actually do it the videos going up. Oh no, I could switch the videos around, so I show you my stash and then I do my kitting up of my next large painting. Maybe that's the way around I should do them. Show you guys what's in my stash, and then my decision wheel can pick what is my next one to do. That could be fun. Right, you see how well so far I am picking up some of these colours. It might not happen for them all. I actually find I struggle more to find some of the colours that are not used very often. They're the symbols that I struggle to find, the ones where I only need one or two. Whereas the symbols I'm using at the moment are ones that I've been using to complete the flowers down here. So they're actually really easy to find for me. So yeah, it's getting a lot easier to find some of these. Plus I've sort of got a little bit more accustomed to what diamonds are in what tray, which definitely helps. I'm not trying to figure out what tray I should be in either. Susan, she says this is quite the endeavour. She says she doesn't know if she is a little jealous or just in awe that I'm doing a painting with that many colours. Well, you should give it a go, Susan. It really is nowhere near as bad as I thought it could possibly be. The only thing, it's not the finding of the symbols, because of the way I've laid them out. I've laid them out what works for me and for the way, you know, my brain works is how I've laid them out. In the sort of groupings that I have. The only thing that I think could potentially, and it's not a huge challenge, it could just be make it not quite as enjoyable as another painting, is where you have space to put said diamonds. So as I say, at the moment I don't have the space next to me while I'm diamond painting, unless I pulled out another folding table to have all three of my trays accessible. And that is, you know, I can reach and grab the whole tray, but I can't grab a pot out of the tray without grabbing the tray first, if that makes sense. Is the space to put them, to be able to then grab your pots. That is the only thing that may make it just that little bit of a challenge if you've not got the space for that. But other than that, I am absolutely loving doing this high colour painting. And it makes me really excited for outside the sweet shop as well, because that one I think is a lot more confetti heavy. Looking at the image, it's more confetti heavy. So there's a lot more gaps between all of, you know, the diamond colours. You don't get as many where you have a block like we did over here. So I can imagine that will have like a different challenge to it. It does have a couple more colours, but once you get to 192, what's a few more? What is a few more? It's not that bad, to be honest. So yeah, but it is good fun to do. I don't think it would bother me either. So my Heaven and Earth design that I did, absolutely loved the process, loved working with the tablet, loved getting each section done. However, it wasn't a painting that I would work on as much off camera, as in you do it for my evening diamond painting. Because of the complexity of the way Heaven and Earth design works, because I was transferring from tablet to blank canvas, it is something that I did do a section a day for quite a while, but I found myself doing that in the morning, and that worked fine. Morning or afternoon worked fine. Sitting down and doing it in the evening, not so much. Whereas this one, while it is still complex in relation to how many colours it is, this is one I can quite happily do in an evening and not feel like it's a constant challenge, hopefully that makes sense to people. It's a different type of challenge painting or complex painting. I'm actually going to move this second big set up here because I do think they're actually easier to grab on the table. Just a little bit easier to see. They were tucked on my cart, which is tucked ever so slightly under the lip of my table, so the shadow was just making it a little bit harder to see. But yeah, go for it, Susan. She says she's not sure she has that in her to do. There are some that are like 90 colours. I think the one I recently unboxed was 90 colours. That might be a good in-between challenge, because that would only be a case and a bit of this big case anyway. Or even if you use the 60 bottle cases, it's only a case and a half. It's better than it being 3 cases. She says, as for June, she's on the 30 by 40 train. Excuse me. She's on the 30 by 40 train. She just likes seeing it all come together during the month. She says, but she is also on the train that she will watch whatever I choose to do. She said, it's just a very fun event. She said, so it doesn't really matter. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, Susan. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the 30 by 40 or a similar size. It might be slightly bigger because we do have 30 days. Though if we end up with a heat wave like we did last June Waffle, it might be something that I actually want to do a small one and just make it a nice, 40 to 50 minute whip and waffle because of the heat. So I'm not quite sure yet. I think I'll just try and either find a painting or pick a company's paintings. I want to try and get one of the kids to pick a painting that, maybe I won't have seen before and I won't know what it is, and go from there. Right, this one is dotted in quite a few places, and while I could see it plain as day, the symbol plain as day where I had these big gaps where I put the first couple of diamonds, it's not as easy to see in the rest. Though I don't know what is easy to see in the rest of this. So I think I'm going to end up with a few that I have to go back to do. Okay. I don't know if I've got them all, but I now keep seeing other symbols jump out at me. So I think I'm going to go for the ones that jump. And this symbol is actually one I'm not sure where it is. Oh, I found it though. It's in my others tub. Yvette, she says she loves this, she says, and she also has it in her stash. She said, talking about birthday wrapping, she said Jay decided the other year he wanted all birthday and Christmas to be wrapped in brown paper, as he loves how he gets his kits from Diamond Art Studio. Love it. She says also she found when she worked on outside the sweet shop that she took a photo of the ledger and printed it off to help look at the symbols. She said especially ones further on in the canvas when she couldn't see it on the sides. It really helped a lot. She said she can't wait to see this one completed. Great whip and waffle as always. I have referenced the legend on the side a couple of times, mainly when it's been a new symbol that I've not yet used before, normally when there's only like one of them, and therefore they're not like jumping out at me the way some of these symbols are jumping out at me now. That's when I find I've used it, just on the sort of mop up bits a little bit, because it is clearer, slightly clearer on there because they're bigger, which helps me to decide which tray I would have popped the diamonds in, because there is one, I think, that on here, because of the size of it, because it's quite small, it looks like something I would have put with the circles, but it's actually not. And when I see the bigger symbol, I see why I didn't put it with the circles, if that makes sense. Okay, I think I've got all of those. I think what is jumping out at me is I do have quite a few circles, both the circle with the line through and the circle in a circle in a circle. So I think I might try and get rid of some of those. Patricia, she says she votes for a 40 by 30. She says she too loves watching the painting being revealed slowly. Definitely seems to be the majority vote. So I'll go for a single painting. Anastasia, she says for the name of the day, she says Testy WIP Thursdays. Testy Thursdays. I like it. Definitely more of a challenge for Thursdays, WIP and waffles. Something that's a little bit harder to do, but sort of a full-on running series that doesn't take X amount of weeks. It takes as long as it takes. And we have parts, as I say, where it goes a little bit faster, parts where it goes a little bit slower, depending on how busy life is or how much I get to work on it off camera. That has actually got a little knob on it. These diamonds fit together so well that I do find I need to get rid of the diamonds with little nubs on, because it just doesn't sit together the same. Teresa said she started on walking in the rain today. I love it when people are doing the same sort of one along with me, especially if it's one that, you know, maybe they've been wondering, am I ready to start this? Am I not? Hopefully by doing it together, it makes it more enjoyable. I know it makes it more enjoyable for me, knowing that others are doing the same painting. There's two that I've just missed. I did that symbol before. Bev, she says she's nearly caught up after her Add More Zest weekend. She said she started on the last day by Hafsa in Greece today. She said your latest painting was next, but she got this one for Christmas from her sister and it's jumped the queue. Well, I'm all for jumping the queue. There are certain paintings that just speak to you. And what that painting may be is different for everybody. But if it jumps the queue, it jumps the queue. Sometimes it is just meant to be. I haven't actually unboxed my Christmas painting from Dreamer Designs yet. But if any was going to jump the queue at the moment, it would be that one. But it's February, so I shouldn't really jump the queue with it. I thought I saw another one around there, or maybe it's that one. She says she'll think she'll end up doing my calendar painting for the June waffle at this rate. If it keeps getting bumped for another one, then you probably will. Probably will be the way it works. But do you know what? Sometimes that is what happens. Ride the excitement of the painting that jumped the queue while the excitement is there. Gray Legrand, she said, pause, oh, the cardigan string, she said. No. I know, I still need to tie that off. I think about it every single time I pull it out the wash, which at the moment is a lot because it's winter and I just have, I think I have like 4 or 5 cardigans that are just nice and warm and fluffy. And I tend to just, a lot of the time, I cycle through them and just put them over the top of whatever I'm wearing, because they're mainly worn, pretty much always just worn in the house. And quite often it's too warm for them in the house. but then occasionally it's not. So they're my cardigans that hang about that literally I'm taking on and off all the time. And that one's probably my oldest one. I've had it for years and years. And every time I take it out the wash, I think I need to tie that and turn it off, and cut it off. And I never do it while it's wet. And then when it's dry, it tends to be that I'm putting the washing away quite early in the morning when it's dry, and my brain just is not awake enough to think about taking it off. So it just never gets done. It's awful, really. Awful. Anyway. Gray Legrand, she said, another comment, she says, my goodness, she says, watching this she has filled the Diamond Art Studio shopping cart. She says, so far, with city streets in the snow, good choice, rainbow trains, loved ones are near, and the purple zesty tray. Love it. She says she hasn't clicked checkout yet. She said the international flat rate shipping is hard to swallow. She says, P.S. she's using my discount code too. Well, does the discount code get you close to the shipping? Like that you're just paying for the paintings and the discount code, what you get off the paintings covers your shipping? Maybe. That's always a thing. But yeah, I do know what you mean. I end up doing the same with Diamond Art Studio and Dreamer Designs. I know they do have an amount where you get free shipping, but because their prices show up differently for international, some of the price of shipping is actually included in the price of the painting. It's just the way, you know, the system works, because they have to add our tax on before they ship to us. And I know they have said, Diamond Art Club themselves have said that the prices shown do include some of the cost towards shipping. So even though I'm ordering a couple to hit the free shipping mark, it's not fully free. I'm paying some of it. That's for sure. So maybe if you do use my discount code, think of that towards the shipping, and then does the shipping seem not so bad? Sometimes it's just the way it's put into our brains can make a difference. I know it does for me. That's for sure. Alexandra, she says, hi Rebecca. She said, do you have any of the wall tray holders left in your shop? She says she's bought one and she's loving it. She'd love to buy another one. Yes, we do. We have quite a bit of the tray storage because we do get that one freighted in. When we do need a restock, we buy a lot. It takes quite a while to ship as well, so we do make sure that we order that one early. But yes, we do have those left in the shop. You're probably best clicking on 3D printed trays. That will bring it up, I think. Like if you go in the category, sometimes it's easier to find. Though we have also put a search in the shop recently when we were sorting out the website items. We did put a search bar in there. Sometimes adding new features can change the layout of the website, but we're not as keen on it. But we figured the search feature might be handy. So just search tray storage and that should come up for you. Should be able to find that fairly easy. Jess Diamond Paint, she says, hi Rebecca. She says she finally bit the bullet and she has placed an order with Diamond Art Studio UK. She said she snagged this one, Walking in the Rain, as well as the adorable panda that they have. He is cute. She says to justify the shipping, she also snagged our tray, some putty from Abby and Kat, and a beautiful pen from Norse Alchemist. They are pretty, those pens. They're not cheap, but they're very pretty. She says she made sure to purchase before February, when the diamond painting stash down 2024 starts. Is that when you're supposed to stop buying? Oh, goodness help me. It's a good job I'm not taking part of that. She says she won't be making any more purchases for the rest of the quarter. Oh, okay. Quarter's not too bad. It's not like you're saying you can never buy anymore. It's not like you're saying it's for a whole year. So she won't be making any more purchases for the rest of the quarter, and she'll be focusing on working from her stash. She says she can't wait to see the progress on this canvas in the next week. Well, I hope you are happy to see the progress so far. It's a slower going painting, but it's not major slow. Or at least I don't feel as though it's major slow. I don't feel like it's dragging. Whether I would feel that if it was the only painting I'm working on, I don't know that that would be the case either, because it is really, really enjoyable to work on. But I normally find that if something gets, you know, a bit, or I feel like it's dragging a bit, it's normally when I get closer to the middle. But with this one as well, I think because it is a long-term one, I think I'm going to really enjoy getting it out in between other paintings and sort of going back to it and doing a bit more. But I still get to keep it moving by working on it on a Thursday otherwise, which is always nice. Ooh, I've actually got loads of this one in here. This was a good one to pull out. Blossom Shop, she says, when you said how you were limited your stash to the space under your table, she said she absolutely roared. Are you knowing something about designs that are coming out? Because you're probably very, very true. Jackie, it's probably very much the truth. Who knows what this year will bring. For January, I was going to say have I done really well, but I probably haven't. I've bought a few. Mainly Dreamer Design seems to be the one that's got me recently. My past couple of purchases have been from them, though maybe I just feel proud of myself because the releases that have come out from the email releases that I've received over the past few weeks, maybe even the last month, because I do think I got my other Dreamer Designs. I got my other Dreamer Designs before, in December. I think that's when I got caught with them. And then my Christmas one, I might have bought between Christmas and New Year. If that's the case, I don't know that I've bought any this year, because my unboxings so far are ones that have been sat here waiting for me to unbox them. I just wanted to spread out the videos instead of having just unboxings for 1 week. I don't know. I'd have to look at my emails and my dates, but I think maybe I've not done that bad this year so far. But you're right, it'll probably change. Christina, she says, haha, she says, wow, that is wild. She says, on the bottles, they are not at all. She says, and no wonder they thought it would be okay. Oh, this is the symbols that look different. This is probably the 310 and 939. Turning on the light pad did make a huge difference on that one because the colour background was different as well. So the background colour on 939 and 310 did look black and dark blue when my light pad was on. So it definitely helps. She says, still a bit odd that they didn't change it when seeing them shrunken down. I think it's very hard with symbols, and I do feel for companies in relation to symbols and what works and what doesn't. Because even after having done, of course, a couple of diamond paintings ourselves, working with Diamond Art Studio, that have been ours, we've looked at symbols. We check symbols, you look at symbols on the canvas, you think everything's all right. But until you actually work on it, oh, that doesn't need to go there. I've managed to shove one right in the middle when I meant to put it in the corner. Thought I was going to have to get my tweezers out then. But yeah, until you actually work on it and do the painting, you just don't quite know the same. And as much as it would be amazing to be able to get a sample made up of a painting and then actually do it before it is produced, there's just not enough hours in the day to do that. You would spend your whole day diamond painting to release a painting for a month. Imagine if this one had to be done before it could be released. You'd be lucky if a company could release one a month, because of all the time they'd have to spend diamond painting to sort of check those symbols. So I do feel for them. I do think they do an amazing job. And I say, once I've got a light pad on this, I don't find that this is a big issue at all. I find that the symbols are really quite clear. And while there may be a couple that I'm like, I am able to check them against the sort of side ledger and figure out what it is, and find it. And more often than not, the ones I need to do that for is not because I've picked up a different symbol instead. It's because I can't find the symbol that I think I'm looking for, due to the colouring. It's not like I'm picking up a different symbol and going, is it really this one? I'm just not seeing the symbol at all. She says, she says, especially seeing as they're already sometimes leaving out either P or B when the other is present. She says, but with that many colours, she said she guesses they're going to have to compromise. Yeah, and there is just going to be that. There is, in some instances, they're very similar. Like those two O's in the pink. More often than not, those two O's are appearing in the same place. And I actually find I don't second guess myself with those as much, because I've always got the other one on the canvas for me to check it against. So I've got them both here, so I can reassure myself that actually they are the two different ones, and I can do one of them and then do the other. And because they're both on the canvas, as I say, in the same sort of places, I'm able to just confirm that I have got the right one. So I kind of prefer it, if that's a way to say it. Right, let's do some dark purple. Sometimes these symbols are jumping out at me. Sometimes I'm just like, oh, do you know what? I know where that one is in my case. So I'm doing that one next. Doreen says, she said you had a hair stuck on the end of your pen, she says, and that's all she could see. I tell you, hairs get stuck everywhere in this house. There is just too many girls with long hair that things just end up picking up bits of fluff, bits of hair. It's even worse when the youngest is home. Hers is so thick. I just feel like it gets everywhere. Okay, there is one down here. Have I got all of those? I think so. But again, I thought I've got all of others as well, and I didn't, so. Okay, I'm trying to ignore the lighter ones and the ones down here. I am trying to make sure that I sort of work down as I go. So I think I only have one of these. Oh no, I don't. I do have a second. So let's get that one for sure. And then there's one there. Oh, there's actually one a bit further up as well. Oh, there is. There's loads of them up here. I've just tipped them into the top of my lid because I didn't think I had that many. And of course, it's one of those symbols that as soon as you start putting one or two down, a load more jump out at you. And now I'm seeing more. Does anybody else find that? Especially with something that is, let me tip these into a tray. Especially with something that is very confetti heavy. Like this section. This section is the most confetti section I've had so far. It's as though the symbols feel like they're slightly different depending on what they're next to. So as soon as I spotted one up here, I then spotted a load next to it because of the symbols it was close to. And then when I spotted one down here, which was in a little bit of a lighter section, I then spotted loads because of what it was close to. Okay. I've probably not got them all, but that's fine. I'm going to keep moving from what is the furthest over this way for a little bit, just to see if I can get some of these gap filled, and means that I'm not looking at as big an area, because of course the more I move in, the less space I'm looking at for symbols, which means I'm less likely to miss some, she says. But that could very much change, especially when I end up with one that ends up all over the place. See, look, there's a pink one that I missed from earlier. This one here, I did ignore that one on purpose because my cover paper's half over it. Okay. Right, what do I want next? Where is that symbol? Is it in triangles? It is in triangles. Claire, she says, how did you manage to get all your diamonds the right way up in the tray? She says, half of mine always end up upside down. She says, unless that's just rounds. It depends. Squares do seem to like to go the right way up a lot straighter than rounds. I've even found that working on my tiger one compared to this one. I do find that squares, I don't know whether it's just because it does have those flat sides to knock against the sides of the trays. I do tend to end up with more squares the right way up than rounds. However, the tip is to be lightly shaking it so that you are knocking the edge of the diamond against the little rungs in the tray to get them to sort of flip over. I do tend to tip quite a few in my tray. If you're only tipping a few, as in like 10 or 20, they will have a harder time of straightening up than if you tip in more. If you tip in more, they tend to bounce off each other to get the right way up as much as they are sort of knocking about in the tray. Or that's what I tend to find. Especially when I was doing my Heaven and Earth design, and I only had like 5 to do and I'd tip them into my tray, I'd have a really hard time getting those to line up in the tray because there just wasn't enough diamonds in there to knock against each other. So maybe try putting a few more in. But it is quite a gentle shake, and you do get used to how to shake the tray that works for you to get them all lined up. I wouldn't say it's an art as in it's a skill, but it is something that with more and more practice you do get better at. Blossom Chop, she says she was brought up that Sunday was the first day of the week, and she's now wondering whether it could be something to do with church, because she was brought up Catholic. Maybe, in fact it is. I think there's a comment coming up in a bit where somebody said why Sunday is classed as the first day of the week. Lady Dax says yes, she says she has completed flower delivery. She says she has put a picture up in the group, which I did see. That is an absolutely stunning image. That is one that I would love to do for the process of doing it. I think it's the person in the picture that doesn't appeal to me as much. But the actual sort of background and stuff, I think that's a really fun one for the process. She says hopefully next week she'll be joining me with Walking in the Rain. Hopefully you will be too. It is a really, really nice picture to do. I have been working on it on my easel in the same angle that I work on it on here, on my drafting table. Normally I would turn it round so it could fit the full width of the drafting table. But then it just gets confusing between doing it on this easel and doing it on the drafting table. So I've been doing it sideways just the same as I am doing now. And I think I might even do that with my next large painting. Just make the transition for a WIP and Waffle so much easier if it's orientated on its small side. We shall see what painting I end up getting. Okay, have I got all of those ones on this side? I think so. Still got loads more of these though. Loads and loads. Grey Legrand, she says, so she hasn't mentioned before, she thinks for the June Waffle to work on her budget canvas WIPs. Get some finished paintings, she says, and free up some storage. That's always good. Many people do like to use the June Waffle as a bit of a clean up kind of process. A bit of a spring clean, a bit of somebody to chat with while they finish up either a few small projects that they've managed to kit up over the year and haven't quite finished because they moved to something else. Or sometimes, you know, maybe a project that's been going on for quite a while. Sometimes they're quite tough paintings, whether it just be tough because they're confetti, tough because of the subject of the painting. Many different reasons, but the June Waffle does end up being a nice kind of clean up month, which is always good. Or if you're all cleaned up and you're all organised and everything's done, then it can just be nice to do a painting from start to finish and get another one in your stash. But yeah, many a time in June people will finish multiple pictures in June because they can. Right, this is one of them that is 2 different circles, so I am just going for the smaller of the 2. It does have a shadow on it, so it has got a thicker black line around one side of it, and it is smaller, so it is quite easy to figure out. And there's actually more of these than I thought there was. There's quite a few of these scattered in here. Make up for a nice building colour. Lisa says walking in the rain is going to look so good. She said she can't wait to start one of her Diamond Art Studio paintings. You won't be disappointed. I've just finished another one. Just started this one. I am actually going to do a round painting next time. And I know that won't be a Diamond Art Studio, only because all my Diamond Art Studios are square. But yeah, it's going to be really nice to be able to work on the two, because their new supplier for canvases and stuff, I'm really liking these diamonds. Actually makes me very excited to do that Moon Shape Monday one with the black outline, and I forgot the name of it. I'm really rather excited to do that one, because I think a black outline and then colouring it in with these diamonds is going to be so much fun. Grayla Cran, she says, if I say it out loud, I'll force Megan to do it. She says, laughy face. Yes, I have managed to get hold of her a couple of times in the last week to get some stuff done. We do still have a lot more that we want to get done though. So I can't remember which thing I was trying to make sure she did, but there was some things that did need prioritising a little bit, and that have now got done. Oh, I don't think I've not had this little teardrop one before. This is actually similar to another one. I've actually got two that are very similar. But that is that pink one. The other one is a peachy colour, which will be much lighter on the canvas, I think. Okay, let's fill that in. Let's actually do this bigger circle while I've done the smaller one, because there's not as many, and it sort of tidies that up a little bit. Tidies my circles up. I've done quite a few of these in my last few sections because I've had a lot of the pink flowers in my last sections. I haven't done any of a building yet, so here it is. Teresa, she says the American calendar starts on a Sunday because the Bible says the Sabbath, which is Saturday, is the 7th day of the week, and that they are to rest in God on the 7th day at the end of the week. So there we go. That's where Saturday being the end of the week has come from. So it's probably just one of those things that us Brits changed partway through. A bit like even going to metric. Some things are metric in this country, some things aren't. Most things are sold in metric, but not always spoke about in metric. We still say a pint of milk. We still travel with miles per hour. Yeah, we're a weird kind of country, and depending on which generation you get, we're even weirder still. Anne-Marie, she says, tremendous Thursdays sound good. She said she is doing her outside the sweet shop on a Thursday for the Waffle, and she's doing an odd square in between. When she finishes the outside the sweet shop, she said she is going to make it Throwback Thursday and start with the oldest canvas in her stash and work on them in the same manner. I like that idea. I like the idea of taking the oldest painting in your stash and working on that. That sounds like fun. Maybe I should do that one day. I don't know when to do that though. I'll let my decision wheel choose for now, but I am very tempted. If it wasn't for the fact that I have my outside the sweet shop to do and in effect 2 heaven and earth designs, so my mini beautiful light using the chart and my other heaven and earth design canvas painting, I'd be very tempted to do the same thing and go to Throwback Thursday. Just to get through, you know, just to be able to do some of the older ones in my stash. Maybe once I've done the decision wheel on this next large painting, maybe I'll just decide to do the oldest one in my stash when I've finished a round one. That is an idea. I'm kind of missing my decision wheel. I want my decision wheel to pick the next one. But then after that, I might go for one of the oldest in my stash and sort of mix it up. We'll see how old the one the decision wheel picks is first. She says hopefully that'll allow her to get her older ones done, as much as it's new and exciting, she said it's getting started. She said thanks again for another great waffle. I really like the idea of the likes of Throwback Thursday. So yeah, I'm still keeping my major or my bigger projects on a Thursday. I'm going to see which painting the decision wheel picks for me next time when I kit up one next week. If it does pick an older one in my stash, then that's great. I will do the older one and then I'll still do the decision wheel for the one after that. If it happens to choose one that I class as newer in my stash, then maybe what I'll do is the one after that I'll do an old, whichever's the oldest, so that the oldies don't get left out. That's probably the best way to put it. So my old paintings don't get left out. Kim says she wonders how she can see symbols that I miss when I'm doing my own painting. She says, but she always misses ones when she does her own. She says, you did great not missing any symbols this week. Well, that must have been a one-off because I've definitely missed some this week. I definitely missed some in my Sunday WIP and Waffle, finishing up the tiger. And no doubt I will miss some symbols when I finish this off later on tonight as well. I'm expecting to do it for sure because I just know it'll happen. Peggy says yes please. She said she would love to see me order the blank canvas. Yes, when I get round to prepping for my Heaven and Earth design redo of Mini Beautiful Light, I will definitely take you guys along for the ordering process and show you sort of exactly what I've done and why I've gone for what I've gone for as well. Because sometimes it's knowing the why that helps the most. Right, that was actually quite a few diamonds over that space, albeit it was definitely a single placing kind of job, but there was quite a few. And I think this next one is going to be the same. Quite a lot of them, but definitely single placing. Oh, very similar colour to my tray again. This one is 552, just so you know. Diddy says, hi Rebecca, they had to be a silent watcher because of exam season. But they're glad to say they passed all their classes, not all with flying colours, but at least they're done. Semester 2, here they come. Oh, it's never ending, is it? They do have both math and science back to back in exactly the same room. So that is going to be fun. They hope they have more time to work on their diamond painting. They're kind of slacking on that right now, they have said, which can happen, especially when you've got classes and things. During December, they ended up breaking their pinky finger. Ooh, it's amazing how much you use your pinky finger and probably don't even realise until something happens to it. And less than a month, they were back there thinking that they'd broken their arm and ended up hearing that they have soft tissue damage on both of their hands and wrist. Whew. Thank you for helping them. She said, thank you for me helping them keep their sanity during exams. During exams and arm damage as well, by the looks of it, or sounds of it, should I say. Take care of yourself, and if need be, wrap yourself up in bubble wrap. Mysterious Days says they did get a replacement light pad pretty quickly, since they'd go insane without it. They said it's a weird one. Oh, it's a wired one. But it lives on their desk or tucked between their desk and a trash can. They said it is a thicker one, and the magnetic or rechargeable ones are currently outside of their budget. They're hoping this one lasts a while, as the cord generally isn't tugged due to some cord management. Well, hopefully it will, because especially if it's something that you need all the time, or you're working on a painting that benefits from a light pad, like my last two have, it makes such a huge difference to have one. Jerry, she says she's just finished kitting up city streets in the snow. She said next kit up is walking in the rain. She bought a 240 bottle case so that she could kit that up or outside the sweet shop. She said Decision Wheel decided that she was kitting up walking in the rain. She says once done with those, she thinks she's going to start ahead and put city streets ahead and work on that. She said considering they are having a bit of snow and they think it will be fitting. She said city streets is the most colours that she has. It's the most colours that she's done. Before that, the most was Liberty's Light from Dreamer Designs at 46 colours. Build yourself up. But seriously, it's no... I mean, I have done a Heaven and Earth design with 240, so I might be a little bit biased in that way, but it's actually not that bad. Winter Heart said they've just heard their comment read. They've finished the calendar and have both the Advent and Zesty Wolf in their decision wheel. So they're looking forward to launch next week as the trays are darling. Oh, thank you. I do love the trays for what is now tomorrow's launch. But I am going to call it done there. I have reached the end of the comments and my battery is flashing. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.